Rondell Moore, former second-round pick, I believe, for the Cardinals, and former starting quarterback Desmond Ridder for the Falcons. The very rare player-player straight-up swap, no picks involved. The Falcons send Desmond Ridder to the Cardinals. He'll be their backup quarterback. They clear out the depth chart behind Kirk Cousins, who they just signed, and they get Rondell Moore, continuing to pile up former highly touted wide receivers and just getting Kirk Cousins weapons. I mean, they had Drake London already, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. They go out and spend $39 million to get Darnell Mooney, and they also added Ray McCloud in free agency. So now it's London, Mooney, Rondell Moore, Ray McCloud. They got Kadero Hodge in there. He's done some nice stuff, did some nice stuff with the Lions previously. And then Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. I mean, Sully, yeah, this is a team that said, all right, Kirk, we are going to – I mean, clearly they told Kirk Cousins when they were tampering with him that they were going to look, we're going to make sure we get you all the weapons you need on this roster so that way you can we can have an explosive offense. And I mean, it is hard not to be kind of pumped about the Falcons this year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we said it when they signed Kirk Cousins to begin with that, he makes them the favorites in that division. But we also noted that when they signed Darnell Mooney, they needed a lot of help at wide receiver. I know we always talk about, they have Drake London, they have Kyle Pitts, they have Bijan Robinson, all these first-round picks that they use. You looked at that wide receiver unit before all of these moves, it was just Drake London, and really that was it. So you needed to go after Darnell Mooney. You did need to kind of make these moves. I love this move. I don't understand what the Cardinals were doing here. I love this move for the Falcons to get Rondell Moore, a speedster. Again, he's not going to be like your number one wide receiver or anything like that. He's probably going to be like your number 3 or number 4, but highly touted guy, as you said, and you got him for a dude that you already replaced 2 days ago. I mean, to me, that just seems like a great move for Atlanta.
Yeah, I wrote the story for this trade. I graded the trade. I gave the Falcons an A because, like Tyler said, it's a guy you were getting rid of Desmond Ridder. It's not like, when you have a first round quarterback doesn't pan out, like the Bears, for instance, Justin Fields. If the Bears don't get much in return, they're going to get panned, and rightfully so. But if you're the Falcons, this guy was a 3rd round pick. He didn't work out. That's fine. It's a 3rd round pick. And you got Rondell Moore, who is probably going to play quite a few snaps for you in 2024. If Ridder had stayed for some reason, he's the backup quarterback. He's not playing any snaps unless Kirk Cousins gets injured again. So this just seems like it is unbelievable that a former second-round pick and Moore, who has been in the NFL for 3 seasons and had 40 receptions, at least 40 receptions in each of those 3 seasons, and he should be getting the easiest coverage out there. As you guys mentioned, he's the number 3 guy behind Drake London and Darnell Mooney. So it is really interesting that the Cardinals were willing to make this deal, especially because Hollywood Brown's hitting free agency. So now the Cardinals are losing 2 of their top 4 receivers. What are they doing? So I gave the Cardinals a C, though, because they do need a backup quarterback. I don't think they should go in the season with Clayton Tune. Desmond Ridder does fill that need. But, man, why are you giving up a receiver when you don't have any receivers left?
Especially when you factor in, if Desmond Ridder's starting for you, you're screwed anyway. You're done. You're toast. I mean, ask Arthur Smith. Starting the season for the Falcons and that got Arthur Smith fired. I think there may be some. The question is all right, you go pay Kirk Cousins a bunch of money. I understand why Atlanta was all right, we got Taylor Heineke, who we signed to this deal. We just gave Kirk Cousins a ton of cash. Ridder didn't work out, and maybe there's some personality issues there, just in terms of maybe they wanted to get the quarterback room right, and Zach Robinson decided, all right, we want Heineke and Kirk Cousins. Maybe we'll draft somebody late. I would almost guarantee that this is a team that drafts somebody late because of Kirk Cousins' age, and so because of that, you're not going to keep Ridder, so it makes total sense to do it. I agree with the Rondell Moore, a nice get back. I mean, he can do some fun stuff. You get the ball at the line of scrimmage and watch him explode. You get him some good blocking, some screen stuff. I think it's a good move. Kendall Fuller to the Miami Dolphins. Xavier Howard out. Kendall Fuller in. 2 years, $16.5 million. What would we be talking about Kendall Fuller signing with the Dolphins if Harry wasn't a Dolphins fan? I'm just kidding. It was actually a big day 4 signing, I think.
Yeah, I would say, look, you cut Xavier Howard. You're saving money. This is cheaper than what you would have paid there. And Kendall Fuller was arguably the top corner left in free agency. And if you're the Dolphins, I'm sure Dolphins fans were wondering, who are we going to have in the secondary this year? And I think they made a couple of moves today. And so, yeah, I mean, Kendall Fuller played really well with the Commanders last season. And if he continues to play like that, then that is definitely good news for Miami. And you look at what he's up against, in the NFC East, you have to worry about CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown. There's a lot of guys, but now that he's in the AFC East, I mean, whoever the Patriots have, because you don't know who the quarterback is throwing the ball to those receivers. Yes, you have Josh Allen, but Stephon Diggs is just all over the place, even though he's a very good receiver. So it is interesting to see, and the Jets, Garrett Wilson, but I think that Fuller can be successful in Miami.
Well, not only that, I mean, he was asked to cover those guys in Washington. Now he might not even be asked to do that because you have Jalen Ramsey there. So, I mean, this secondary is really starting to take shape here. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Jordan Poyer on a 1-year small money deal at safety. All right, Jalen Ramsey, Poyer, you have Javon Holland, you have now you're making the move for Kendall Fuller. I'm starting to really like what they're kind of forming here, which makes a lot of sense.
They got Jordan Brooks too and Shaq Barrett.
It just makes a lot of sense.
Obviously not in the secondary, but like improving the defense in general.
It's kind of what they were trying to do last offseason, I thought, when they got Jalen Ramsey. It's kind of the counterpunch for, okay, we have to face Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. We have to face Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. How do we stop them? Do we have to ask Tua Tagovailoa to just go nuclear with Tyreek Hill and go toe-to-toe? Sure, you could try to do that, but also let's try to get them on the back end with the secondary as well.
No, I joked about talking about Fuller. I mean, I think we would have brought it up anyway, of course. But I do think you're right, Sully. I mean, this is sort of like, you mentioned like the Texans and what they did last year to go and get, like, the Dolphins had cap problems. They had let Christian Wilkins walk. They looked like they were having a rough off season, but they've done a really nice job sort of being frugal and signing some of these second wave type of players, guys who got cut by their teams that could actually end up putting together a pretty nice little defense in Miami. I think good job by Miami the last couple of days. DJ Reader just signed with the Lions. Detroit beefing up the middle. What do we think about this, Breach?
Man, we talk about Jonah Williams now. Reader, the Bengals just bleeding guys out left and right. The one thing I will say is that one thing DJ Reader did well was just plug up the middle in Cincinnati, and that's the kind of run stuffer you really want. I'm a little disappointed the Bengals let him walk, but I also understand why they did. He's going to be 30 years old. He's been dealing with some nagging injury issues, but I do understand why the Lions signed him, because you do need that run stuffer in the NFC North. I mean, you look at what the other teams in that division did. The Vikings get Aaron Jones. The Packers get Josh Jacobs. The Bears get DeAndre Swift. So you're talking about a division where running the ball is big, and you kind of need that big guy in the middle. So I like this signing for Detroit.
And I mean, they made that a huge priority last year too. I mean, they were the number 2 in the league in rushing yards per game allowed. I mean, they were putting an emphasis on stopping the run. I kind of thought that this is more of a luxury addition, I would say, if you're the Detroit Lions. Really, I think we're all looking at the secondary to see how they're going to fix that. They've obviously started to do that in free agency. I like it, but again, it's something that it's more of a luxury pick than it is, or a luxury signing than it is actually filling a need, because again, they were one of the best teams in the NFL at stopping the run last year.
Well, they lost. Did they lose Tyson Alualu? Or he's still on the roster. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. It's a little bit of a luxury pick, but one of the ways you can do look, you got a bad secondary, one of the worst secondaries in the league. You need to fix the secondary. It's not just as simple as go sign cornerbacks and fix secondary. It doesn't always work like that. And I think, sometimes you see with teams that are suffering in terms of their production on the back end, go lean into your strength and improve your defensive line. And then these guys don't have to cover as long. Now, I still think you'll probably see them chase after some cornerback help, either in the second wave of free agency or, in the draft. But now you have
they traded for Carlton Davis. So
yeah, they traded for Carlton Davis. Yeah.
Sure. And then with the pass rush you just mentioned, Brenton, they also signed Marcus Davenport. So they have absolutely been trying to improve the pass rush, which, like you said, should help the secondary as long as that pass rush is better.
And you talk about building on your strength. And just real quickly, yes, that makes a lot of sense just in general. But as you were kind of alluding to, Breach, this division is going to run the football a ton. I mean, you look at what the Packers just did with Josh Jacobs. The Aaron Jones is now with the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears going to have a rookie quarterback, and they just signed DeAndre Swift. they're telling you, the rest of the division, that they're going to run the football, put some emphasis on running the football. So maybe it is wise to beef up that piece of something that you already were pretty strong at.
I mean, you've got like DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, shout out NC State, drink. You got Marcus Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson. Like, that is a really interesting front four that, if they stay healthy, can get after people. Like Marcus Davenport, remember, I don't know if you guys remember the draft when the Saints traded up for him and traded a future first to go get him, and everybody and their brother on the entire world thought it was for Lamar Jackson. It was like, oh my God, Sean Payton and Lamar Jackson. And then it was like, hello, like, what you just did that for Marcus Davenport. As a second pass rusher, though, he's a much more intriguing player than he is trying to be like the guy on the edge. I don't know. I think I love the Lions. Always love the Lions. Love them a little bit more after this move. Also love the Indianapolis Colts a little bit more after they went out and got my guy, Joe Flacco. Joe Cool signs a 1-year, $4.5 million. Get Joe Flacco out here, 40 years old, getting $4.5 million from the Colts to be their backup. He might not have to play a snap. He might play 17 games for all we know. Anthony Richardson didn't finish. He played 3 games last year, didn't finish 2 of them. And the Shane Steichen offense asked him to do a whole lot in terms of running the football and taking big hits. I would definitely, if I set the over-under at half a start for Joe Flacco, you take the over, I think.
Absolutely.
I think the over at 3.5.
Right. 2.5, half a game. Of course, I could certainly see that. To me, though, the only thing that and I guess it's the same argument for Gardner Minshew too. I just don't know why they wouldn't bring in a backup quarterback that would have a similar skill set to Anthony Richardson. Now, he has a special skill set, which is hard to find, but I still don't know why you have Anthony Richardson and then Joe Flacco as your primary backup. It's just 2 totally different styles of quarterback.
Yeah, and you see that teams usually do that. I mean, we saw the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, Tyler Huntley. It's just you have pocket quarterback, mobile quarterback. Now you just have 2 complete contrasting styles where I guess Shane Steichen is just going to rip one part of the playbook out if Anthony Richardson goes down, and because Gardner Minshew is a little mobile. He's not Anthony Richardson, obviously, but I wouldn't even say he's the same style as Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson. He's just somewhere in between. But Joe Flacco is a statue. Anthony Richardson is a athletic specimen. But yeah, I do agree with you guys that you don't know how long he's going to last with that playing style. We saw him go out early this past season. So it won't be surprising if Flacco plays. I actually think he could be successful in the type of offense the Colts could run with him with the weapons they have. So this is a good landing spot for Joe.
I have 2 things I would point out. One, it would be absolutely hilarious if Shane Steichen just ran the same offense with Joe Flacco as he runs with Anthony Richardson, just Joe Flacco, like trying to run people over. And then 2, I can't remember who said it, but it was somebody credible who had either worked with teams. I want to say it might have been Nate Tice, but I don't want to say it was him if it was somebody else. But Steichen even came out and said that to him, it's not a big deal to have a backup with a similar. Like, I had actually never heard people say that. I agree with your theory. Sorry, I'm not crapping on anything. But it's like Steichen apparently doesn't consider that to be a big deal, and sort of just has literally just has pages of the playbook. He's just going to X out if he's not going to mince you running read options and stuff like that. So for whatever it's worth, somebody mentioned that. I just don't have it offhand who it was. Von Bell leaving the Carolina Panthers, returning from whence he came to your Cincinnati Bengals, John Breach. 1 year, $6 million. You happy with that?
I am thrilled with this. Look, if there is one thing the Bengals defense struggled with last season, it was the safety position. You had a couple guys back there. It seemed like the Bengals had to do something. And we saw them go out and get Geno Stone, which I would have been thrilled if they stopped there and did not get anyone else. But then they go out and they reunite with an old friend. And the thing I like about Von Bell is that he was really successful during his 3 seasons with the team. I mean, he was the full-time starter. He was there. He was a veteran leader that they needed. And so you bring him back, and not only do you bring him back, but the Panthers are paying a salary because he's got one of the Russell Wilson deals where I think he had $6 million guaranteed with the Panthers. So he just took a minimum salary deal with the Bengals. Yeah, and this is Cincinnati saying, hey, look, we tried it with Dax Hill. We tried it with Nick Scott last season. They already cut Nick Scott. And we think we'll be much better off with Von Bell and Geno Stone. And I think they're right. This makes their defense a lot better getting Bell and Stone.
Yeah, I'll just agree with Breach on that. I mean, you had such a drain last year, losing Jesse Bates and Bell in the same offseason. That's just, it's tough. So you bring him back, and as you mentioned, Breach, you're not even paying for him. Like, it's a slam dunk, no brainer. A dude that knows the system and who's free. Yeah, I think any team in the NFL would want that.
It's really fascinating. The Carolina Panthers just a gift they keep on giving when it comes to like, hey, you got Von Bell for free. I mean, basically, it's unbelievable. Carolina having an incredible offseason.